You're listening to Chuck Cash on the radio.
Stop it.
Chuck Cash is on the radio. What? Chuck Cash on the radio? Yes, Chuck Cash is on the radio. He's on the radio now.
How do, and welcome to the Chuck Cash radio show. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll be taking a look back at the top stories and events in the week beginning Monday the 31st of December, also known as New Year's Eve. And New Year's celebrations are being prepared around the world for welcoming in 2013. And by the way, that's how you say it, 2013. I don't know why 13 years into the century there's still debate over how we say the year. For the entire length of the 20th century, we were quite happy to say 1900, 1901, 1902, 1999. But the minute we hit the 21st century, it's, ooh, what do we say? Is it 20,001? Is it, no, it's 2013. Now let's never speak of it again.
On the radio now.
Meanwhile, in America, President Obama risks losing his shirt on a fiscal cliffhanger. In the Vatican, the Pope warns the world of rampant unregulated capitalism. In Germany, Chancellor Merkel alerts the nation that despite it being a tough year in 2012, 2013 will be even tougher. Yeah, Happy New Year, love. In North Korea, Kim Jong-un does something his father only did once in the previous 17 years of his reign. He addressed the nation and said he was offering a new direction, which is very refreshing. Unless, of course, he's referring to the country's next unauthorised rocket launch.
On the radio now.
In the UK, Man United footballer Rio Ferdinand tweets a New Year's request for sympathy as he'll be away from his family with the team over the New Year period. To which a quick-thinking Scouse tweeter reminded him he should spare a thought for those of us not on £80,000 a week and to stop being such a selfish bellend. To which many of thousands of Twitter fans agreed, judging by the amount of tweets and retweets it received.
On the radio now.
New Year's Day is the biggest day in the advertising calendar, taking advantage of all those drunken late-night resolution promises, the diets, the exercises, and the products for quitting smoking. Usually, around midday, the reception area of most of Britain's gymnasiums are clogged up with many bleary-eyed fatties trying to renew their crumpled gym memberships. Alcohol charities get in on this brief window of healthy opportunity too, while the general public are remorsefully hungover, dormant, and so therefore may be forced to listen. The Liver Trust try to sell abstinence as a healthier, thinner, cheaper way of life, and then warn of the dangers of obesity and the startling increase in diabetes in the UK. The same day, the Cheltenham races are cancelled due to waterlogging, and in America, Hillary Clinton remains in hospital with a suspected blood clot. By evening time on Tuesday, despite Rio Ferdinand being handed his arse on Twitter, in most homes it already feels like it's been a shit year.
On the radio now.
And here's just a flavour of the stunning celebratory fireworks of the midnight celebrations from around the world. From London. Wow, look at those fireworks. Spectacular. And from New York. Wow, that truly is spectacular. And also in Dubai. Pretty impressive, I think you'll agree. And Moscow, not to be outdone. Woohoo! Wow. Quite a bit of money being put into that firework display. And in Taipei. Wow. That is fantastic. I wonder what it was like in Hong Kong. Now that is impressive. Huh. Wow. Glorious. Absolutely glorious. I'm speechless.
You're listening to Chuck Cash on the radio.
Stop it.
Chuck Cash is on the radio. What, Chuck Cash? On the radio? Yes, Chuck Cash is on the radio. He's on the radio now.
My resolution this year was to be less judgmental of others. Yeah, that was quite easy. Which left me plenty of time to make up some resolutions for other people, like Robbie Williams. Say Robbie could make a resolution to try singing an entire song himself, rather than holding out the microphone for the audience to fill in the bits he can't be bothered to sing. Supermarket staff could make a resolution to get out of the sodding way when they're stacking shelves and allow customers to shop around them. People using their mobile phones in public places could assume a secondary status, i.e. they could either shut up or go and have their personal conversation in a private place, instead of amplifying the importance and volume of their call. This is why in public places only people on the phone can be heard over everyone else. Well, except for maybe those who are hard of hearing. And white South Africans. I don't know why. It's just fact. Fat people could do their part too by taking more exercise and eating less. Drunks could cut down on their alcohol consumption, and the police force could stop making stuff up. Politicians could also contribute more to the cutbacks. They could cut back on the bullshit for a start. In fact, all political leaders could set a much better example. David Cameron could be less smug, Nick Cameron could be less of a pushover, and Ed Miliband could be less Wallace and Gromity. Bankers could stop breaking the law with our money, and the press could stick to just reporting the facts. And celebrities, like entertainers and men in general, could start checking the age of the person they put their penis into before they put their penis into them. One of my favourite resolutions chosen for other people was by an American, the pensioner Jean Hill, 85, who campaigned to have single-serving bottled water banned in her hometown of Concord, Massachusetts. The ban is to encourage the use of tap water and to curb the worldwide problem of plastic pollution. First-time warnings and fines up to $50 will be imposed for shopkeepers who flout the ban, and I wholeheartedly approve.
On the radio now.
2 more arrests are made in the Operation U-Tree inquiry, open brackets, BBC Dirty Dozen Bingo, close brackets. So if you're playing along at home, Jim Davidson has now been ticked off. And on Wednesday night, in a police cell somewhere in London, Jim Davidson is reminded of his colourful comedy character Chalky by many of his fellow inmates, as he spends the day in Nick. Wednesday, back-to-work commuters are greeted with new rail fare increases, first announced last August and come into effect, with an average of 4.2% increase for season ticket holders. Fares have risen above the rate of inflation for the last 10 years. The general consensus of opinion by commuters regarding the fare increases was that they were not fare increases. Or, to be more accurate, they were unfair increases. A survey of the youth in Britain showed that 1 in 10 can't cope, meaning the others are either getting pregnant or thinking up more creative ways to get a council house, judging by my estate. Teachers surveyed in England and Wales say that morale is at an all-time low, with 3/4 of the 800 in the NUT poll putting the blame on the coalition. And the other 25% blame the swaggering, gum-chewing, baseball cap-wearing brats they have to face on a daily basis. Oh, excuse me, that's my phone. Terribly sorry. Hello? Oh, hello, Mum. Oh, Happy New Year to you too, yeah. No, I'm just doing my show. What do you mean, what show? My radio show. My radio show. You too. Oh, Jesus. Excuse me a moment. I'm just going to have to take this. Here's some music.
When I crashed the car and I ripped my pants, lost my front door key. Think I cracked a river too, and my head is killing me. Slapped the priest, kicked the nun, I punched the monk. Forgive my indiscretion, I was very drunk. Well, I cussed you out, it just burst out. I criticized your wife. My fence gone my way through your bad pathetic life. Drank all your tequila, finished off your skunk. in the downstairs loo. I bumped into your mother, may have kissed her too. When your daddy saw me, I felt such a chump. Next time you see the family, tell them I was drunk. Well, I'm drunk, I'm very drunk. No excuse, but it's the truth. The fatter I get, the more I let loose. I was drunk, I'm very drunk, yeah. I'm thinking if I keep drinking, I'll forget every sober regret I have. Zero 100 proof, alibi's watertight. I swallowed the embarrassment for what I did last night. A clumsy kiss when I'm half pissed, don't get the hump. And if I hurt your feelings, I was very drunk. Well, I was drunk, I'm very drunk. No excuse, but it's the truth. The fatter I get, the more I let loose. I was drunk, I'm very drunk, yeah. I'm thinking if I keep drinking, I'll forget every sober regret I have.
You're listening to Chuck Cash on the radio.
Stop it.
Chuck Cash is on the radio. What? Chuck Cash on the radio? Yes, Chuck Cash is on the radio. He's on the radio now.
Phil the Power Taylor wins his 16th World Darts title at Alexander Palace. Teetotaler Taylor says he'd like to win 20 championships before he becomes too thin and sober to hit the board.
On the radio now.
It was announced that next Tuesday the government will vote on the new benefits cap, limiting benefit increases to 1%. Opponents to the cap say it's well below the rate of inflation, but the coalition argues benefits have risen 20% over the last 10 years, where wages have only risen 12%, although neither party seems capable of defining those who will be most affected, as they struggle to define the strivers from the skivers, from the duckers and divers, and those just trying to stay alivers.
On the radio now.
Internet shopping becomes the new browsing, or Windows shopping if you will, as online sales of DVDs and CDs over the Christmas period breaks the 1 billion mark for the first time, up 11.3% on last year. The phenomenon is due to the convenience and ease of shopping day or night from the comfort of your own home, plus the avoidance of enforced jollity, bumping into people you've been avoiding all year, and the awful prospect of Christmas carols piped into every high street. Patty, how much is that doggy? Paige, in the window, dies aged 85. The one with the waggly tail. The Met Office have reported that 2012 was the wettest year for 12 years. This was remarkable, if only for the fact that it was made so by all the major news networks that chose to use it as their lead story for the day. Argentinian President Cristina Fernando Kirchner sends an open letter to David Cameron, copying in UN Secretary Ban Ki-moon, requesting talks over the sovereignty of the Malvinas, or as we know them better, the Falkland Islands. She points out that the island sits 8,700 miles from London and was stripped from Argentina during colonisation by the British 180 years ago, exactly on January 3rd. The British Prime Minister responds by reminding the Argentinian President that only a request by Falkland Islanders could trigger any talks of such referendums over sovereignty. This was, of course, after the customary wind-up response of, "Thank you for your letter. However, please can you translate exactly what you mean by the word Malvinas?" It always winds them up.
I said, yes, Chuck Cash is on your radio now.
Now it's time for your local news. A seal is thought to have swum more than 50 miles along a flooded river to an RSPB nature reserve, where it was filmed hopping into a lake. The marine mammal was filmed in a YouTube clip published on Sunday, and it was in Fen Drayton Lakes Reserve in Swavesley. The man who filmed the clip, who wanted to be known as Robin, that's Robin with a J, whatever, said, "At first sight I thought it was a dog in trouble, but as it came up for air I could see it was a seal. Plus I waited a good 10 minutes for someone to appear shouting, 'Fenton! Fenton!' And no one did," said Robin with a J. Homeless people are removing the lids from tombs in Cambridge's Mill Road Cemetery so they can sleep in them and to avoid the cold at night, say police. Although a spokesman for the cemetery said the tombs had been disturbed, but there's no evidence that the graves had actually been slept in. Yeah, because that would have been creepy. Reverend Margaret Widders said the cemetery was open to all members of the public, including those who were down on their luck. She went on to say the grounds of the church were frequently used by drug takers, drinkers and the homeless. She suggested that no matter how desperate or destitute, that keeping them out of the graves wasn't an issue. It was getting them through the bloody doors of the church that seemed to be impossible. Alfie Fripp dies at the age of 98. Alfie was the longest serving prisoner of war who was held for almost the entirety of the Second World War, helping many other prisoners to escape. Clearly a very brave and selfless individual. Or maybe he just lacked ambition, I don't know. In Chelmsford High Street, a stray deer caused chaos and injures a woman as it ran wildly around the town. A roadblock was set up by police, but it managed to evade their trap. As to how the wild animal was able to roam around town for so long, police say no idea. Well, that's one explanation, I suppose. That's been your local news.
I said, here's Chuck Cash is on your radio now.
On it. I don't like my hair, but it's growing on me. I'm gonna blow it, I just know it when I can't cut it no more. Gonna curl up and die. I'm gonna blow it, I just know it when I can't cut it no more. Gonna curl up and die. I don't like my car, it drives me to despair. And I've been there. I don't like my car, it don't move me at all. We had a break for goodness sake, which would clearly indicate you're the key, don't get me started. We had a break for goodness sake, which should clearly indicate you're the key, don't get me started. I don't like my hair, but I'll sleep on it. I'll sleep on it. I don't like my hair, but it's growing on me. I don't like my clothes, they're always hanging around and around and around. I don't like my clothes, we ain't suited anymore. Acts like a turnip waiting to unfold, a job of a worn-out soul overall. I'm wearing well. Acts like a turnip waiting to unfold, a stitch up of a worn-out soul overall. I'm wearing well, a turn up. Oh. I don't like my hair, but I'll sleep on it. I'll sleep on it. I don't like my hair, but it's growing on me, all over me.
like my hair. I don't like my hair. Don't like my hair. I don't like my hair. But it's growing on me. It's all over me. I don't like it. He don't like it.
You're listening to Chuck Cash on the radio.
Stop it.
Chuck Cash is on the radio. What? Chuck Cash on the radio? Yes, Chuck Cash is on the radio. He's on the radio now.
Man City manager Roberto Mancini says there'll be no punishment after he and controversial striker Mario Balotelli have to be separated in a training ground bust-up over a poorly timed tackle by the striker. Poorly timed indeed for Balotelli, considering the New Year transfer window just opened. Most Premiership managers would be throwing Mario headfirst straight through that window right about now. On Friday the 4th, it's hands on, hands off. Hands on as a 51-year-old pub landlord, Mark Carhill, receives a transplanted hand in a groundbreaking 8-hour surgery, becoming the first person in Britain to receive a second hand. And the message is hands off in an Argentinian newspaper after The Sun take out an advert in a typically subtle response to their president's request for Falkland sovereignty talks. And in Switzerland, it's hands up as the oldest Swiss bank, Wegelin, is forced to close after they confess to seeking out wealthy Americans to help them avoid paying tax. Financial markets become nervous and experts say the fallout from the bank closure could trigger a treble dip recession in the UK, which could prove rather hard to handle. As studies show that more of us than ever are currently surviving on handouts. You can't tell, but I just threw my head in my hands.
I said, yes, Chuck Cash is on your radio now.
Well, 2013 has begun. We're into it now. It's less than a week old, but we'll soon bed it in. Pretty soon it will take on its own flavour and feel, and before you know it, you'll be able to sum it up in little bite-sized doses. Alternatively, you could let me do it for you by tuning into the Chuck Cash radio show every Saturday night at 10 p.m. You can catch me in all the usual places on Facebook, Twitter, or at my website, chuckcash.co.uk. Thanks for listening. Take care. The night.
I said, yes, Chuck Cash is on your radio.